I wish I could stop that guy. I wish that guy died, but he's here to stay.
Oh, bro, you can't.
If you think I'm too old for this fight, you need to come tell me in my face. Whoa.
Mike Tyson just did something that's turned the boxing world on its head. You'd think we've seen everything by now, but no. This is a whole new level of crazy. Remember that recent press conference? Jake Paul was on a mission roasting Mike Tyson like it was his job. He even went as far as mocking Mike's illness. The crowd couldn't believe their ears and absolutely lost it, tearing Jake apart with some choice words. But what did Mike do? Not a damn thing. He stayed silent. He didn't even flinch, and everyone thought maybe Jake had finally outdone him. But no, Mike wasn't out of the game. He was just playing a different one on August 22nd on Logan Paul's podcast. Mike Tyson unleashed his master plan, and let me tell you, it was crazy.
Jake, be in good shape because your health depends on it.
But before we dive into the madness of what just happened, let's backtrack a bit because you need the full picture to understand how we got here. So Jake Paul, the press conference on August 18th, was supposed to be just another routine stop on the hype train, but Jake had other ideas. In true Jake Paul fashion, he wasn't just throwing punches with his fists, he was aiming for the knockout with his mouth. He went all in determined to roast Mike Tyson like it was his last chance to prove something. And here's the thing, Jake wasn't just confident. He was overconfident, strutting around like he owned the place. You could practically see the arrogance dripping off him. Like he thought his words alone could land the final blow.
Shut the fuck up, New York. Hey, boo yourselves. Boo yourselves, New York. Hey, New York, New York, New York, you're just like Mike Tyson. You were good 20 years.
I mean, it's one thing to trash talk an opponent, but this was Mike Tyson. We're talking about a living legend, someone whose name is practically carved in stone in the boxing world, and yet he just kept pushing, almost like he was blind to the giant he was poking. And then there was Mike Tyson. If you know anything about Tyson, you'd expect him to clap back to put Jake in his place with a few well-aimed words of his own. But no, this time Tyson just stood there silent.
I don't know. Say that again. That's interesting.
Everyone in the room was waiting for Tyson to explode to say something, but he didn't. The silence was deafening, and it left people wondering, was Mike holding back? Was there a reason he wasn't taking the bait? The tension in the room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. It was clear Tyson wasn't playing Jake's game, and that was making everyone, including Jake, a little uncomfortable while Jake was busy filling the room with noise. Tyson's quiet demeanor created a tension that had everyone on edge. It was like Tyson was saying, I don't need to match your trash talk because my deeds and legacy speak louder than anything you could ever say. Tyson's quiet wasn't a retreat, it was a calculated move, a way to mess with Jake's head. By not engaging, Tyson left Jake spinning his wheels, unsure of how to handle someone who wouldn't play by his rules. Jake, who's used to rattling his opponents with his words, found himself in unfamiliar territory, and you could see the frustration coming in. Tyson had done what he does best. He got inside his opponent's head, and he did it without breaking a sweat.
Is he gonna fight to make this happen?
Now let's talk about Jake's plan. Here, his trash talk is his bread and butter. It's how he's built his whole persona. He knows that in the world of social media controversy, whether people love you or hate you, as long as they're talking about you, you're winning. But this time his usual antics felt different. There was an edge of desperation to it. Like he knew this fight was bigger than any other he's had. This wasn't just about another win, it was about facing down a legacy. Jake's bravado seemed more forced than ever, almost like he was trying to convince himself as much as the crowd that he could actually go toe-to-toe with Tyson. But if you thought Tyson stayed quiet because he didn't have anything to say, well, think again. The man knew exactly when and where to drop the bomb, so here's the deal. Mike Tyson's surprising appearance on Logan Paul's podcast just days after that fiery August 18th press conference was nothing short of genius. The timing here was impeccable. Just when the buzz was starting to die down, Tyson swooped in and cranked it right back up, but this time he was in the driver's seat, controlling the narrative like only a legend can. And it's not just because it's Tyson, but because of who's sitting there. Logan Paul, Jake's brother, and their dad Greg Paul, all smiles at first, thrilled to have a star like Tyson on his show, but that excitement didn't last long. Tyson didn't waste any time, he dove right into it, and his words hit harder than any punch.
Talkers get all the money. The shit talkers get all the attention.
Yeah.
The shit talkers get everything. We get a bad rap, but we get everything out.
That wasn't just a jab at Jake Paul's whole shtick, it was a full-on uppercut to his entire plan. Tyson, a guy who's earned his place in boxing history through raw power and skill, was basically calling Jake out for being nothing more than a showman chasing fame and fortune, rather than respecting the sport. Logan, who had been beaming just minutes before, suddenly looked like he was rethinking this whole podcast idea. The discomfort was all over his face, like he just realized he'd called a lion into his living room, and his dad Greg, well, when Logan asked him,
Nervous for Jake?
Greg didn't even flinch before he replied.
Yeah, it's a fight. And this is the baddest on the planet. So yeah, hell yeah.
Whenever Jake's father talks about his son's upcoming fight with Tyson, you can't help but notice the admiration in his eyes. He's a real fan of Tyson, and you can tell this isn't just about supporting his kid, it's about respecting the legend that Tyson is Greg. Paul's not just some dad in the stands, he's a guy who's watched Tyson throughout his career, witnessed the destruction he's capable of, and knows exactly the kind of danger Jake is walking into on November 15th. It's like watching someone about to walk into a lion den during his interview on Logan. Paul's show Mike Tyson dropped one of the most bone-chilling truths you could ever hear from a man like him, and trust me, it's the kind of thing that'll make you sit up straight. Tyson, this guy whose name alone can send shivers down your spine, admitted that he's scared not of some other boxer, not of losing, but of himself.
Yeah, you're scary.
I'm just that kind of person, you know what I mean? I'm just a scary guy, that's who I am. This is my nerves, my scared, because I don't want to get angry or anything. That's why I'm scared.
This was Tyson pulling back the curtain on his own mind, giving everyone a glimpse of the monster he's kept caged all these years. Tyson being scared of himself isn't exactly news to those who followed his career closely. It's a theme that's been running through his life, shaped by countless battles in the ring and even more within his own head. So when Logan Paul asked Tyson why he kept quiet during the August 18th press conference, Tyson's response wasn't just surprising. He explained that his silence wasn't because he was caught off guard or didn't have anything to say. Nope, it was an act of pure control. One of the most infamous times in Tyson's history of trash talk came before his 2002 fight with Lennox Lewis. In a fit of rage, Tyson threatened to eat Lewis's children. Yeah, you heard that right. He said he was going to eat the guy's kids. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and wicked, the most ruthless champion there's ever been. Tyson declared, my style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. These weren't just words to intimidate, they were a window into the primal, almost animalistic mindset that Tyson would tap into before a fight. But here's the thing, Tyson's ability to spit out such terrifying rhetoric is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's been a powerful tool, allowing him to get into his opponent's heads and tear them down mentally before they even get the chance to throw a punch. On the other hand, it's a reminder of the darkness. Tyson himself fears that once he lets that side of him loose, there's no turning back. That's why his silence at the press conference was so significant. Tyson wasn't quiet because he had nothing to say. He was quiet because he knew that if he opened his mouth, the full force of his intensity would come roaring out, and Jake Paul wouldn't stand a chance throughout his career. Tyson's trash talk has crossed lines that no one else would dare to. Before his 1986 fight with Trevor Beck, Tyson famously said, I'm going to make you my girlfriend. Crude. Absolutely shocking without a doubt. But it was an effective. Burbick, like so many before him, was defeated before the first punch even landed. Tyson's words have always been a weapon, one that he wields with terrifying precision, and one that has made him a figure of both fear and fascination. But as Tyson pointed out on Logan Paul's podcast, there's a world of difference between him and Jake Paul.
Overconfidence with anybody in life.
Tyson said, drawing a line in the sand between his method and Jake's. For Tyson's confidence isn't about talking big, it's about doing big. His entire career has been built on this belief. Tyson doesn't need to run his mouth to prove he's the best. His record, his reputation, they do all the talking for him. Tyson's belief in actions over words is what makes him so terrifying. When he says he's scared of himself, he's not exaggerating, he's being brutally honest. He knows that his words have the power to shake people, but his actions have the power to destroy. That's why he holds back, why he chooses his moments with the precision of a surgeon, because when Tyson finally lets loose, it's not just his opponent who should be scared, it's everyone watching.
Stop that guy. That guy haunts me. I wish I could stop that guy. I wish I could stop that guy. I wish that guy died, but he's here to stay.
He knows that every time he loses control, every time that guy takes over, it leaves a scar that doesn't heal. The aftermath of unleashing that side of himself is something Tyson has had to live with time and time again, and it's not a burden he wants to carry anymore. That's why he's so cautious. He's learned to hold back, to choose his moments carefully. And Tyson's fear isn't just for Jake, it's for himself, because he knows that if he loses control, if that guy comes out, it could be the end of everything. And that's a risk Tyson isn't sure he's willing to take.